Welcome to the Gumroad Goldmine Advantage, and I am Majesty-Almighty Allie Nicole Wow. I'm excited to be sharing with you during this time about leveling up your e-commerce-preneurship using Gumroad. And if you're not already using Gumroad, I highly recommend that you do because there's tremendous benefits to using this platform. But I want to demonstrate for you how I leverage Gumroad in a multi-level entrepreneurial way. And what I mean by that is that I allow it to be a morphing platform for myself as relates to my digital products and services as well. And the reason why it's multi-level is because it can be looked at in so many different facets. It can be looked at as a training hub, as its own marketplace, and coaching-preneurial empire. There's so many different levels of how I showcase my Gumroad platform. And I'm going to take you over to my platform in just a moment so you can see just how vast it is. I have over 600 products on Gumroad. And what I'm going to be showing you is actually not all of my products, just the ones that I have that are visible. So there's quite a bit to see. Now, I'm Majesty Almighty because I'm cross-trained in over 200 areas, and I serve different niche markets, primarily using my life as a niche. So I've taken my life's experience, my personal, professional, educational, spiritual, mastery and evolution in just different areas of my life, hobbies and things that I'm passionate about. And I create content and products, again, that serve different industry focuses. Because some people wonder, like, how do you create so much? Like, I'm also a published author of over 300 works for different industries as well. And a great majority of my publications are on Amazon. But also Gumroad has opportunity for you and a functionality to even create ebooks. And so there's so much that you can do with this platform. So again, if you're not already using Gumroad and you want to level up your impact and your income, being an e-commerce-preneur, this is the platform you definitely want to use. It's free to use, and they have so many different neat functionalities on this platform. So I encourage you to start your exploration process. So if you give me a moment, I am going to screen share so that you can see my platform. So give me just a moment here. All right. So I'm bringing you to my platform where it's just showing at this moment that I have 618 products that are visible, but they're more than that for sure. Probably around 700 or so, but I don't have all of them visible because some of them are special products that are just for specific interest groups, and I leverage those during certain seasons to be able to, yeah, provide those for certain groups. But 600, over 600 visible, it's quite a few. But now I want to say, before I start actually talking about the Gumroad, the Goldmine advantage is, for me, having a variety of different products that serve different niche markets, is I'm able to take these products and actually leverage them across the board on other platforms. So whether it's YouTube, whether it's Facebook, different social media platforms, and also being able to write within, whether it's blogs or different platforms like Medium, I'm able to diversify within writings and showcase my products. And I would say that that is part of the gold mine advantages, because when looking for gold and digging for gold, so to speak, it's not just like for you, also your audience, even though it needs to be easy for them to see what it is that you provide. But when you can do underground railroad marketing, so to speak, by incorporating your products in articles. That is your audience being able to find treasure, being able to find gold. They were coming to read about a particular topic and focus, and next thing you know, you have products for them to be able to explore. And if you have other products for different industries, that's also an entry level for them to be segued into that experience too. I believe in providing a holistic experience with a one-stop shop effect as it relates to a specific focus, but also being able to bring people into my marketplace or my training hub. So I've got a great variety of products. I have free products and, different talks and podcast features, also repurposing YouTube videos, and also my own podcast segments that get leveled up into a product that is packaged for download, but has another element to it that makes it different than someone just listening to the podcast segment or listening to or watching the YouTube video, even though you can definitely use repurposed content online to produce products, but again, mainly making them free. So here's my follow the yellow brick Gumroad, the Gumroad Goldmine Advantage, for this, particular one. And the reason why I focus so much on the gold mine is because Gumroad is absolutely a gold mine. It is a gold mine. And if you want to level up your impact and income, using this platform is just tremendous. I can't speak enough about the tremendous benefits of using this platform. So as I'm going through here, I'm just showing you the free value that I'm providing for others and them being able to get into my list when seeing these variety of products. So I can service some of everyone on different levels. But what I do in categorization is I don't actually send people to my Gumroad platform to go through and explore all of this. Again, in my creative marketing or so, I might type in a query, and I'll demonstrate that in just a little bit, where you can type in a particular focus and then it brings up products, and then you can share that link with others. Or you can invite them to come to your product, to your platform, and do some exploration. So I'll share an example. I mentioned that I don't actually direct people to my Gumroad platform as a whole because there's so much. But there are within articles that I have where at the bottom it does say if you want to explore over over 500 products for different industries, then I invite you to follow me on Gumroad or join me on Gumroad. And so there's a link included there. But I also like to give people kind of a directory or initiative is that, you come to this platform, type in what it is that you are looking for, and trust me, I'm sure that I have it. So, we're getting into some of the products that are $1, coming out of the free ones and coming to the ones that are $1. One of the greatest benefits about this platform, or features I should say, is I love the fact that you can have products anywhere from free to 5,000. So that's pretty good. You can create high-end products, and I have those as well. Probably won't get to many of those today, but just showing you that you can create these different price points. And again, this is a gold mine for me because I serve different industries. And some of you may be thinking, well, I don't really serve different industries. So how can I diversify what I do and be able to provide not necessarily something so substantial like mine? There's, quite a bit, but again, that's my branding. So it's kind of as expected. But for someone who would like to branch out into serving different industries and creating digital products. Um, Look at your life and look at where you are one or two steps ahead of someone in a particular area. Look at your hobbies, your passions. Look at also areas where you know more than the average person, where you would be like an intermediate authority, so to speak, and then your areas of expertise. And look at how you can even expand and expound upon your area or areas of expertise. You can see I'm getting into some other products here that are $3, and we'll get into some that are 5 and 7. Like I said, I have a variety. But when you can take advantage of leveraging your gifts in so many different ways and creating a variety of different products, this does become a gold mine because you learn more about yourself along the way. You learn how to maximize your talents and to take areas where you aren't even thinking about serving people a certain way. And next thing you know, you actually do have something of value to offer. And you would never be surprised who would be interested in learning more about a particular, area. So when I say I'm cross-trained in over 200 areas, I mentioned that I leverage my life as a niche. And so, no, I don't necessarily have an educational background in all of these different areas or formal training, so to speak. A great majority of them, though, I do. And I do have multiple degrees and certifications. But long before I started adding additional skills and studies in a certain way, I had certain experiences within my life already. And because again, I leverage my life as a niche. So that means I'm taking different areas of my life and using those same fundamentals that I mentioned to you, where I will serve from where I'm one or two steps ahead of someone. I will share from areas I'm passionate about or a hobby or so, or something that is emerging for me. I will share from areas where I know more than the average person. And then I'm sharing from different levels and dimensions of my expertise. And not from an informational standpoint, like studying in that way and just regurgitating it, bringing it to people. No, these are literal experiences within my experience. And so again, I leverage my life as a whole. I mentioned that I'm a published author of over 300 works on Amazon. So of course, I've helped others, several, to publish their books and to start building their own empires. And I'm looking here in terms of Kindle Direct Publishing-preneurship. I also have one for if someone wants to become a Kindle Direct publishing-preneurial coach, and that's been the primary platform that I've used for self-publishing. So over the years, I have taught a lot of people. I've helped so many people publish their books and again, build their empires. So that's just an area of, yes, an expertise. Here's one: prepare for jury duty as a divine assignment. Now, I had jury duty a few years ago, and I actually have a background in legal studies and law, and I had never actually had jury duty before. And so it came up for me, and I went to obviously have that experience that I had to have. But it was a divine assignment because what came up during that time was my leadership skills and empathic leadership skills were needed during that particular time on multiple levels. So it was like me being called to jury duty, almost like that was just a vehicle in disguise. In the sense, it was an assignment in disguise. That's what got me there, to be aware of other things that I needed to, again, be able to demonstrate my leadership skills, but also to know what to pray for and to be able to see some things on a certain level. So I shared about that, and then how others can look at their experiences in that way, that maybe there's more going on than just you actually going to jury duty. So be, awake that there could possibly be another reason why you're there, so I share about that. Over here, we're talking about starting a t-shirt business because I have a multi-level t-shirt business. So I just share again from different areas of my life and being able to leverage the totality of my experience. So again, how this becomes a gold mine is because being able to take different levels of your skills and talents and place them on a platform that allows for this diversity. And you don't necessarily have to put all of this on a website, especially if you are trying to be more niche focused. If you actually create products for different interest groups and you create them here, what you can do is share your special link, your product link, in the areas where you want. So again, you don't necessarily have to send people to a platform where everything is, but if you do, you want to present it as being some type of marketplace or one-stop shop, educational one-stop shop for X, Y, and Z. So there's different ways. As I mentioned, I use it as a morphing platform because a lot of my content is recorded in terms of it's just very impromptu of what I do, more like podcast segments, the way that I do my trainings. And so this is also looked at as kind of a podcast production platform as well, but it's paid for content, pay to play initiatives, meaning you pay for what would seem like segments of me talking about a particular focus. So again, there's so many different ways that you can use this platform. And let me scroll down some more because I'm kind of going slow here. There's becoming a multi-level writing and publishing-preneur. Speaking about podcasting, here's, a couple of podcasting ones. I'm sure you've seen some others as I've been scrolling. And so I have a lot of lower hanging fruit, content, or products, I should say. And speaking of developing your one-stop shop, I have a training here about developing a one-stop shop, one price shop mini mart. So I want to speak a little bit about the inspiration for that particular one. And this has been eons ago. Gosh, it feels like, and it has been actually over 2 decades ago. I don't want to date myself here, but um, gosh, it could be, feels like 30 years at this point, where I actually worked at a store called One Price Clothing. And originally they were the $7 store, and then they rebranded. And so I worked in that store, and all of the clothing articles were supposed to be one price, but actually they had different price points, in there, but they had one target price, and people would come in there and just buy up. And it was just an interesting experience. And I used to actually buy from the store myself before I worked there. And then again, I worked there. And so my business models and different concepts that I use, I take from different experiences. Like I have an extensive background in the hospitality industry to the entertainment industry. There's a lot of different industries I've worked in. Retail was very huge. And so I do a lot of my concepts of things I learned from even their business models, or I let myself be inspired and just sharing a story that this was one of those ones where I then set up my own, which, I'm going to click on this. I'll come back to talk about a few of these. Actually, before I click on these, because it may take me back to the beginning, let me spend a little bit of time actually talking about these. I may come back to that. So here's one about turning your wisdom into mini workshops. So any topic that you feel called to share about, you can create workshops around that. And it doesn't matter what it is. Wherever you have wisdom, whatever areas you have wisdom, again, they don't have to be your signature areas of expertise. It could be you have wisdom about a specific focus. Again, it can be a hobby, it can be a passion, it could be something that you know more than the average person about, that you can do a small workshop, and it can be in a digital product format, and be able to sell that as part of your e-commerce, offerings. I mentioned that I do a lot of impromptu speaking. Like 95 to 98% of my products are definitely impromptu. And that's because I've been presenting for so long, and because I talk about topics that are pertaining to life's experiences, they're easy for me to speak about. And so I don't have to do a lot of preparation to prepare, just to talk and just to speak. And I come forth and organically share. And I teach others how to do that too, and get them actually in scenarios with me where it allows the organicness of them to come forth, nothing that is rehearsed, and where they can be in the space. And guess what? Their better performance, if you will, rises to the occasion when they can come from a different place in the impromptu type of experience. So I do a lot of that and teach, on that. So let me actually click here on this particular product. And one of the things too is people can rent the product too, or if they want to actually pay more for the product than what is the going price, they can do that too. So you have the option to name a fair price. All right, so this particular one, it's a little less than 20 minutes, and it shares what they will learn. And I shared with you about my background of working for a one-price clothing store. So I share about that particular concept, but I also share about models like Dollar Tree and 99-cent stores, and being able to leverage the advantage of having a one price type of initiative. Another training that's very similar to this one is one about the vending machines. I think I'm going to click on that, but I just wanted to come and actually show you how I set up these different trainings and what they're inspired by. And they're not long. Now, I do have products that are longer, but a lot of my products are mini products. They are micro lessons or so. And being able to provide the food for thought for individuals and get them jump started. And there's a variety of different ways. Just like with this platform, you can create courses that you can sell, and ebooks, and create membership communities. So much that you can do with this particular platform. So I mentioned here how to create these types of platforms and provide a win-win in the marketplace to add value to the economy during thriving or even economically challenging times. So that's the benefits for sure of having a one-stop shop, one price type of store, especially when you're doing it in the lower hanging fruits. So let me click on this particular one here, which this is a $7 product and can be rented for $3. All right, so let me give a little background about this particular one. This is my storytelling time here. So, and this has been eons ago in terms of when I was leveraging this particular experience in my life. When I was working in the hotel motel industry, being a on-site live-in assistant general manager on the property, one of my good friends and colleagues that didn't work in the hotel industry, but worked in the retail industry at multiple levels and would have to actually travel, had a vending machine business. And so when they had to travel out of town, I was tasked with overseeing that operation, meaning I would have to go and check the machines and do inventory. And so there was a lot that I learned having that hands-on experience, right? I was first trained by, you know, the individual, and then I knew how to oversee it anytime that they went out of town. And so learning that, I started looking at years later how I could apply the same concept within my business model. And you think about it, vending machines are like everywhere. They're outside of college institutions, they're outside of grocery stores. Some of them are standalones, so they're at gas stations. Vending machines are everywhere, right? Those convenience stores, they're everywhere. So I looked at how do I create that type of experience in social media where I could create these different levels of vending machine experiences with lower hanging fruit products and have them, whether in articles or podcasts, segment descriptions, YouTube videos, how do I leverage that type of experience, right? And so I share about that within this particular product. And the reason why I'm, again, clicking on different products for you to see is that how you can start looking at ways that you can leverage your own experience, all right, and create from these different areas that you've maybe never even considered. So I don't have a background in terms of my own running my own vending machine business. No, but I have the experience of having to oversee. So I learned the business model. So I have experience in terms of, yes, having some hands-on with that type of initiative, even though I myself didn't run the business. Now, I will say, years later, I actually did take a course on vending machines and a vending machine business, even though, again, I myself, I don't own a vending machine business. And I haven't attempted that in terms of the physical aspect, but because it's a part of my experience, again, I use it as an inspiration to leverage in a different way. So again, I share this so that you can look at your experience differently. So we've looked at some, $7 products or so just by way of a default. I have others that are $5, $7. As you can see, there's so many different ones. I have my empowerment talks, and that's another thing that I use this platform for is a speakernomics platform, meaning it's my speaking economy because I have all these speaking products. And so it is a speaking business. And that's what I meant about this morphing experience of how this is a training hub. It's an educational institute. It can be considered an academy. And again, a speaking business. It's a coaching empire because I have different levels of coaching opportunities and masterminds. And so there's so many different not just products, but opportunities here to share. I mentioned about storytelling just a few moments ago, and here we are at storytelling products, business storytelling evolution, and then starting your own business storytelling podcast, right? And again, all these are my different experiences. And so for you, again, you don't have to have all of the experience that I have, or even leverage your life in the way that I am speaking about in terms of this massiveness. Again, like I said, because I use all of my life in a sense. That's why I have so much. And where there are areas where I have been guided to share more, from an organic state, which basically is everything. When things called to me that were just kind of organically happening in my experience, then I would actually take up something around that and maybe do a certification around it just for credential's sake. But 9 times out of 10, I've already been chronically doing it so much in my experience that I didn't need the credentials to do it. It's just one of those things that I would get it just to have. And also too, it's good to study outside of your own experience. So again, you can see a variety of these different products. Also, when you create products using Gumroad, you can also teach people how to leverage the platform as well, right? So I have a lot of Gumroad related platforms for different interest groups and creating courses. And so that's something you may not look at yourself if you are already using Gumroad, and you may not look at yourself as an expert. You don't have to, but because you have to be. But for the simple fact you've used the platform, you actually do know more than someone who doesn't know how to get started. And yes, there's information, free information online to help people navigate this type of experience. But once you have your own experience, then you can talk from your vantage point the best ways. Now, here's an audio talk book that I created. So that's more like an audio book that you can consider doing as well. And I mentioned they also have an ebook format, too. So again, so many different areas that you can look at your life's experience and tap into the gold that is already present, and then bring it over to Gumroad and create your Gumroad Goldmine success. Because once you discover how you can best leverage it, your talents and your gifts, then again, you have now placed your treasure in a chest that others can come and partake of. All right. So again, I'm just showing you just a great variety of different products. I mentioned earlier about becoming a Kindle Direct Publishing-preneur coach, and there we are. And so again, the reason why I'm showing this without the categorization is so it just gives you just a good glimpse of my multiplicity, but also hoping this is a trigger for you to, as I mentioned, look at your life and your experiences and then start to share from those places. All right. So yeah, Gumroad Goldmine success for sure. So all these different levels, everything that you have in your life in terms of, especially, I'll say for those who are in business. If you're in business, you've had to learn a lot of different areas, a lot of different levels of leveling up your skills. You've had to put time in. So you actually have knowledge that you can be sharing. And most people don't look at it. See, like me, I dissect like everything about my life. I have this concept called be the journalist of your life. But not only be the journalist, be the biologist, and then be the anchor. I have a background in media communications and independent journalism. And so again, metaphorically, I use different concepts and formats that have been a part of my experience to teach and educate others from. So when I say that I'm the journalist of my life, meaning I'm constantly studying my life, I'm constantly in the field of my life, looking and examining. And then I'm the biologist because I'm studying, yes, the life force of my experience, but I'm also dissecting it. And so I look for things within experiences. My experience is much like the Russian nesting doll. It's the big doll that has the dolls within the dolls. And so I look for what is the message within the message? What is the niche within the niche? What is the empire within the empire? And when I dissect my experience, and then I come back and, like in journalism, edit your stories and make them public friendly, then I'm ready to be the anchor. I'm ready to broadcast that to the public. So I mentioned about Gumroad and having products. Here are a few. You've probably seen some, but here's one. Load and launch your course with ease on Gumroad and create and launch your mini course bundle in 24 to 48 hours with repurposed content. All right. I'm certified in reflexology and acupressure and self-massage. So I'm big about DIY body work and teaching people how to tap into their own inner healer and be able to produce those results. Because reflexology, DIY body work, saved my life a minimum of probably 4 to 10 times because of what was going on with me. So I had to learn, and then I later got certified. And yeah, so I produce again content based on my experiences. So yeah, so there's so much. So what I'm going to do is actually do some categorization. I'm just again scrolling through and just allowing you to just see the vastness. And so when I mentioned about I dissect my experience and I look for what are the skills within the skills. And being in business, you learn a lot. You learn a lot about marketing, how to brand, social media. There are things you have to study. So you have experiences that you think, you will probably think, well, I'm not an expert there, but you don't have to be an expert at a high level. As I mentioned, you can be 1 or 2 steps ahead of someone and be teaching them that. You can be a mentor or a journey as you're on your journey, helping individuals. That can be the position that you come from for that specific focus. And again, when you turn around and put it into products, then the products are what help to teach and educate individuals, especially in areas where it's not your core thing to be doing. All right. So here's a product, a basic introduction to building a multi-level e-learning training hub, Empire, and it's a micro training. And that's how you can see this as well, multi-level e-learning training hub, because you can come here and practically find any and everything from weather to diet to education, you name it. Breath work, so much. Culinary, hospitality, spirituality. There's so much decluttering. There's so much that you can partake of here, right? So I talked about my experience in the hotel motel industry. And so there's a product that is inspired by that. And yeah, so there's, again, so much that you can see here. But just imagine for yourself, if you only had 5 products or 10 products that you could leverage, that would be tremendously beneficial, for you. During my journey with having food sensitivity, I produced the product Food is Your Friend and Not Your Frenemy. And it really is about understanding your own food psychology and being able to have a relationship with your food. So do you see how, again, using different areas of your life's experience, right? Speaking of which, this is so funny. Here we are. A basic introduction to becoming the journalist and anchor of your life. I was just speaking about that, right? So developing your own academic education system, especially if you're a home educator. I have a background in homeschooling and multi-level education. So there's, again, a lot. sports industry, you name it. I have been there, done that, still doing on different levels. I mentioned that I also have a background with law studies, legal studies, so there's another product for that. Yep, podcasting, coaching. I have over 100 coaching products and over 100 podcasting products too. And then I've got real estate background, there's the healer. There's so much again. And like I said, I hope I'm providing triggers. I mentioned about being empathic, even though I pretty much unempathed myself. But my empathic experience is very vast. And so I have tons of products for the empathic community. I also sell coffee online. And so I have different trainings to teach people about coffee business, also too, leveraging their coaching experience with coffee talk initiatives. All right. Then I have a background in the pet industry. And so, yeah, it's quite a bit here. So again, I'm just showing you, and you can see these different price points. Again, I hope that this is providing some triggers for you so that it gets you to thinking different ways that you can start to create products. So if you aren't familiar with creating digital products, those of you who are new, the easiest way to get started is to, for Gumroad anyway, is to use Zoom recordings. Zoom provides you with two formats of recordings, two options. And it's the MP4 version, which is the video version, and then the audio version, which is an M4A. It's like an MP3, all right? And once you create your products, you can do them in trainings, you can create mini courses or so, then you can upload them to Gumroad, all right? So I've got, like I said, some of everything that you can think about. uh, so what I want to do is I've been mentioning about doing categories. So I'm going to come up and do some categories. So just those here. So sometimes I come through this myself. It's like, wow, I've done a lot here. It's a lot of talking, a lot of product development. And the thing about it is, believe it or not, Gumroad is not the only platform that I have products on, but it is where my great majority of products are. In YouTube, I've got tons of YouTube products. And so I'm just going through showing you. Now we're getting into leaning into some of the higher level products. Because I've got products, 400 or so, 300, 200. You're seeing some of those, 297, 397, and then 597. Then you start getting into some of the services. So let me actually come back up to the top here. And I mentioned that I've got over 100 coaching products. And let me see how many that they'll show here, because sometimes they don't always show. Okay, yeah, that one's it's coming up 148. So, and some of them will be coaching related products, but in terms of trainings, training different levels of coaches and how to use different platforms for your coaching, whether it's with blogging or so. Here's one of the basic benefits of incorporating a la carte coaching in your consulting business, and a movie and a coach micro trainings, because I actually do coach from movies, have clients and cohorts to watch certain movies and be able to do coaching with them. I do a lot of that in my relationship coaching. I know you all probably thinking like, gosh, what are you not trained in, Because I leverage my life, and then I do get in areas where I need credentials, which in my college experience, I have studies in counseling, and my degrees are in Bible. I have two Bible degrees, a BS and a BA, and also in media communications. And then I've done a double major in Christian counseling, and then I have a background in psychology studies too. Later on, I went to actually get certifications in different levels of the counseling. When I was in Bible college and I was doing a double major in Bible and Christian counseling, and then I had a concentration in media communications, which actually got leveled up to be more than the concentration. And my father ended up transitioning, and I had to leave school during that time. And I ended up actually going to another school, and I was doing credit transfers. And I ended up picking up another degree. And I didn't get to finish my counseling degree at that, for that particular school. So I ended up coming away with the media communications and Bible in the dualistic degree for that. And then my counseling, which was the double major, became more of the minor. And then when I went on to my other school to finish up too, I also did a minor in psychology at that school. But then later on, and I mean many years later after graduation, I did multi-level certifications. And so I'm trying to remember why I shared that, but I've got a background in all these different areas. And then also the relationship counseling. I have a certification in relationship counseling. And trust me, I have a vast background as it relates to the different levels of relationships. So again, leverage my life. And then if there are areas where I need to credentialify myself, I'm making up words here, then I have that for sure. So yeah, so again, coaching, different levels of coaching products, and becoming a well-being coach and for wellness-preneurs. And some of these you've already seen, a chaos to clutter-free coach, a media communications coach, multi-level writing and publishing coach, business developer, hospitality coaching-preneur, and business startups. So you can see, again, a variety of different levels of coaching products or coaching related, becoming an art therapy coach. Yes, I do have a background in this. So a dream quest coach, breathwork coaching, all right, visionary coaching. So you can see becoming an empath coach, becoming a travel coaching-preneur, and also becoming, a travelpreneurial coach. All right, so different ones. Empowerment, motivational trainer, empowerment coach. Becoming a child care development center coach. Yes, I have experience, in all of these different areas. Inner game mastery coach, all right? Multi-level mindset coach. Social media detox, a digital detox coaching. So all of these different areas, energy body coaching, you can skill up and learn. All right. And again, I show this in hopes that to create your gold mine effect. Again, you start dissecting your experience and breaking your experience down and starting to look at how you can provide value in these different areas. All right. So I think that I'm going to bring this to a close. I was going to look at another category. I mentioned weather. So let me type in weather. I should have 2 or 3 products here. There's actually more, but it looks like it's only 2 that's visible. So a basic introduction to creating your own online weather safety products platform, basic introduction to weathercasting-preneurship. I had to do the weather. I do have some meteorologist background, but long before I had that in terms of any study, I had that in my experience from a child, and it's different stories. My family kind of was obsessed with, certain members were obsessed with the Weather Channel. So there was a lot within our household that went on just from having knowledge about that. But then also too, when I was in school for radio and television broadcasting, which I did mention that that's actually where I got my first actual degree in terms of an associate certification before I went to Bible college. And this was actually when I was a hotel manager, assistant general hotel manager. And I actually used to have to do weather during my internship. And then what I went on to do afterwards, I used to have to do the weather and sportscasting. So there's a lot, again, to my experiences that are so layered that then I also started, teaching weather safety and different things because I had a background in this area from my life. And let me type in something else. All right. Pets. So, yep. So my background in this area too, and helping people to discover what their path is with, pets. Um, Another story, my guest pets transition facilitation work started many, many years ago, where I kept having experiences where I would gravitate puppies primarily that didn't have homes, and I would find homes for them. I would always be in situations where I was either moving or the properties I was staying at didn't allow pets, or if they did, I had an outrageous fee, but it wasn't meant for me to actually keep the pets. So I was the transitionary facilitator where within those places I was staying, you couldn't have a pet. They couldn't stay over, like a certain period of time. And so again, I was the person who helped to, yeah, find homes or get them directed to shelters or adoption or so. So that different experiences. And I always knew what to do to take care of them. And again, that was my experience. And so I would end up sharing this with other people and even random strangers who would somehow start a conversation with me with these divine rendezvous about finding a dog or so. And next thing you know, I could tell them what they needed to do within the first 24 hours and then what they needed to do within the week. And if they decided they wanted to keep the pet, what they needed to do. And so I created a blog that had all that information on it and where people could be directed and they would know exactly what to do. I wouldn't have to keep regurgitating the process, right? And then my grand dog, who's transitioned now, he was a media pet star on my 2 of my YouTube channels. So had a whole brand built around him. And then when we lost him, then again, sharing from my experience. Now, how do you support yourself and others through pet griefs? Because I had to be there for my son, um, and which he's almost 30, and he was away from us. He lived about 2 hours away. And when he called to share about what happened, it was devastating, um, devastating. And so being there for him and actually helping him make decisions, because he had to make decisions, on the spot of what to do and then what to do afterwards. And then also too, being there for him, being there for myself, but also my younger daughter and others who were close to him, to my granddog. But I actually had done this in the past, but never literally for within our household experience. I had outside of, the experience, even with other family members and colleagues or so, but this one hit home because it was in our immediate experience. And again, I had a, branding built around my grand dog, which I knew at some point, he would not be here, but just did not expect it to be that soon. So that did take us, by surprise. That was very shocking, and just tragic and devastating how, that came about. But again, within that experience, because I actually didn't have a product around pet grief, even though I already had a background in that. But when it hit home, using my experience, I was able to now talk about how you support yourself and also others, because it was more than just me that I was having to provide the support. And then it gave me an opportunity to speak to other people who have been going through, and also individuals who had been helping other people even through traditional loss, which I do have a background in that. And speaking of which, let me see, probably spelling this wrong, but maybe they'll pull it up. No, okay. I think it's so let me just say loss. I was gonna see if so there should be one. It's not coming up, but so I have a background in all these different things, like starting your own online funeral education products. Trust me, uh, like I said, I got a background, but the bereavement, my spelling is off right now. Um, I was trying to get to that particular one because I do have bereavement coaching, and also for those who are in business, who need to plan their estate, because a lot of times business owners, entrepreneurs don't even think about that. Like, if when you're running your own business, as if something happens to you, how is that going to carry on? Or what do you plan to do? What do you have in place? So again, I provide a variety of different products. So I'm going to actually bring this segment to a close here. I'm going to stop screen sharing, but I just wanted to just provide food for thought, as I mentioned, but in visual context, for you to see how this gold mine experience can definitely be to your higher advantage, especially when you are doing it multi-level and you're wanting to expand your e-commerce-preneurship. Is tremendous, because there's so much that you can link to Gumroad. Like, I could have shown you different products where I have my Amazon publications linked, as well, or even apparel links or so, or linking to different platforms. So there's so many different levels, and you get to create this Gumroad Goldmine experience for yourself in a very unique, customized way. But as I mentioned, you don't obviously have to build out vastly like myself. Again, that's unique to my branding. But you have at least 3 to 5 areas that you can provide value on certain levels and producing simple products. So take advantage of the platform Gumroad, and especially while they have certain features that they have available, because sometimes different things change. And so it's best to study the platform and start looking at how you can use these different options. There's also a posting platform. I didn't show that today. I've shown that in other segments that I've done. But the posting platform serves as a blog, and it's where you can allow that post to go to your email list and also obviously to be on your posting board. So it's totally up to you. And I would just say, as I mentioned before, if you're not using Gumroad, it's free to use and is by far the easiest digital e-commerce platform online. And so with that being said, I'm going to encourage you to check the description if you want to explore different options, for how you can take this to the next level. And again, I hope that this has been beneficial for you and you can see how it definitely is a gold mine advantage. And I look forward to providing more demonstrations, and hopefully you'll join me for future trainings. Take care and stay blessed.